Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, a $4 million price tag for the local rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine. Why the tourism minister is giving thanks this month. Plus, the Pine Ridge MP predicts several one-and-done MPs. Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, now that one country has begun giving vaccines to its citizens, the Bahamas government is working to secure enough vaccines for 20% of the population, according to Minister of Health Renward Wells. However, Wells says that may come with a $4 million price tag. Kyle Joaquin has more.
From the cost of the actual vaccine to the equipment to even getting it to all of the family islands, Wells said it's going to cost the government a pretty penny.
So there's a plan, and that plan right now equates to about a little over $4 million.
That $4 million figure includes the $1.6 million government plans on paying for the vaccine. A $250,000 payment has already been made. However, Wells told reporters today that the additional cost of the equipment, like a freezer and simply distributing the vaccine throughout the archipelago, will add a few millions more.
To be able to source the kind of equipment, because we're going to need to store it in country, so we need to be able to get the kind of freezer. So the engineers at the Ministry of Works is working on the HVAC, the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system that would be necessary to hold that kind of vaccine, but that's just a larger freezer. We're going to need the smaller ones to transport it to all the various islands, and we're intending, once we get the vaccine, to be able to deploy it to all islands at the same time quickly.
Then there's the rental of aircraft, as well as sending vehicles to other islands to make the overall process much smoother. The UK has already begun giving the Pfizer vaccine to its citizens, as several other vaccines complete their trial periods. But as for when a vaccine will be available to Bahamians,
I want it like yesterday, honestly.
Wells said whichever vaccine the World Health Organization goes with, the Bahamas government will continue its investment in. Although government has said no one will be forced to take the vaccine, there remains concern. Wells was blunt in saying Bahamians will have one of two choices: take the vaccine or herd immunity.
And I want the Bahamian people to understand, the only cure for COVID is herd immunity. That's it. It's the only cure. Herd immunity, or everybody stay in their houses for a month and the virus dissipates. Or we all take a vaccine to get to herd immunity. If persons in the Bahamas decide they don't want the vaccine, then we've decided we want to go the route of the hard way to get to herd immunity.
Wells says the vaccine will be free to those who want it, and the government will begin its distribution with frontline workers like healthcare professionals, the elderly, and those considered high risk.
We are not going to force a vaccine on anyone. If no Bahamian want to take it, no Bahamian other than the Prime Minister and myself, then we'll be the only two vaccinated.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Thanks, Kyle. Well, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar was all smiles outside Cabinet this morning when asked about the reopening of the two mega resorts. Giorgio Bain reports.
Ahead of the long-awaited reopening of the two mega resorts, Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar said he is thankful that they will finally welcome guests back. He called on Bahamians to make it work, as the tourism industry employs 2/3 of the population, and hotel employees need to get back to work.
We start with Atlantis on the 10th, Bahama on the 17th, the Hilton on the 15th. Notwithstanding there have been some hotels already open during this whole time, like the Ocean Club and the Marriott downtown have been operating through this entire pandemic. But it is indeed delightful that these major properties are opening and thousands upon thousands of Bahamians are being called back to work. So this is really a watershed moment. It's great. It's wonderful.
However, the tourism minister said he is concerned about the rapid increase of COVID-19 cases in the United States, the Bahamas' largest tourist market.
Of course I'm concerned. I mean, everybody turns on the television every night. They see the volume of people coming through the door. They see the cases. They see the deaths. It is very concerning, but we are hopeful that our protocols that are in place have been doing a fairly good job thus far. Our numbers are down. I think people are getting a little slack, so people have to double down.
Marketing campaigns will be slow, according to the tourism minister, who says his ministry can't put blinders on to what's happening in America and barrel in with limited and scarce marketing resources.
A lot of the individual properties are advertising, but we're getting back in the market. The largest source of foreign visitors is through online booking travel agencies, so we do a lot of online advertising. And then in the new year, we're going to move more into the traditional TV advertising and the like.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgia Bain.
In other news, 30-year-old customs officer Marco Smith pleaded not guilty to one count of possession of an unlicensed firearm today during his arraignment before Deputy Chief Magistrate Andrew Forbes. Police say Smith was found with a black Springfield Armory pistol on December 5th without a special license. He was denied bail and remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until March 18th, when he will return to court for trial. Well, outspoken Free National Movement Member of Parliament Frederick McAlpine is once again lambasting his party in Parliament, telling fellow MPs that many of them will be one-and-done MPs and will not be re-elected in the next general election. Jasmine Brown has that.
The Pine Ridge MP made the daring comments in Parliament on Monday evening as he clashed with members of his own party over the startling statements.
I'm sorry to tell you, many of you in here, it's one and done. He said it again. Yeah, I'm sorry, because if you was listening, we wouldn't get this far. We wouldn't be where we are today if you was listening.
McAlpine made the comments as he contributed to the debate on the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020. McAlpine has emerged as a controversial figure in the Free National Movement, frequently criticizing government decisions. As for his own political ambitions, he says he is confident that he will be re-elected.
Pine Ridge intends to run in the next general election, God spares life. Pine Ridge also intends to be returning to this place after the next general election. Again, if God spares life. Pine Ridge may be many things, but Pine Ridge is not politically naive. I don't follow constituencies' names. I follow the people of the constituency.
The Pine Ridge MP said no matter how the government changes constituency boundaries and names, he will be running wherever the majority of people in his current constituency are.
If the powers that be seek to be spiteful while continuing down the road of pettiness, deciding among themselves to remove Pine Ridge as a constituency and putting people, please do, removing Pine Ridge and putting my people into another constituency from the voters' registration perspective will not matter.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And not everyone was feeling McAlpine's comments regarding several F&M MPs only serving one term. As they walked into cabinet, a few of them stopped to dismiss his claims as utter nonsense, with one asking if McAlpine thinks he's a prophet. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Tell Mr. McAlpine to speak for himself.
Immigration Minister Ellsworth Johnson was one of several F&M MPs walking into cabinet expressing disappointment in McAlpine's statement. He questioned, who does McAlpine think he is?
I don't know if he's some prophet, but the people will make that decision, not Mr. McAlpine. Speak for himself.
For the past 2 years, McAlpine has sought to keep the government's feet to the fire, railing against government decisions in Parliament. He took it a step further Monday night, saying many of them will be shocked on Election Day. However, some, like Mount Moriah MP Marvin Dames, also a political newcomer, called it nonsense.
The time has come for some of us who continue to go out in public and pontificate, all right, to stand up and be counted, all right, not to use their platform to talk nonsense. You know, this is what bothers me.
I'm sure Mr. McAlpine has lots of views about lots of things. I don't pay any attention to that. Denisha the Agler going to do what Denisha the Agler going to do.
But not everyone was interested in responding to McAlpine. Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis rushed into cabinet saying he had to get to work.
One-term MPs. Mr. McAlpine said several of y'all are going to be one-term F&M MPs. Where are you going? Okay.
Bamboo Town MP Ramwood Wells, who was once a member of the PLP before crossing the floor and being re-elected as an F&M MP, says he's not worried about McAlpine or Election Day.
The Bahamian people will make that decision, and all I can say is, when the roll is called up yonder, I know one thing, Bamboo Town will still be in in the House of Assembly, and the Free National Movement, Lord willing, will remain the government of this country.
Wells said McAlpine is free to say what he wants, but when one looks at the Minnis administration's record, the government has been tried and proven.
We are a tested, tried, and proven leadership. Through crisis, we're tested, tried, in the best of circumstances. Look at our record.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Thanks, Kyle. Well, we saw some cool temperatures last night. Greg Thompson is in the weather studio with what we can expect tonight. Greg?
Thanks, Christina. Meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Cold air mass starting to invade our area. Temperatures once again down into the upper 60s with few clouds. We'll call it mild. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 10 knots. Feels like temperature around 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite view around the area. The cloudiness across the southeast Bahamas all associated with that cold front that pushed through the capital yesterday. Cold air mass now invading the northwest Bahamas, but some cold clouds moving across the area. We should see that through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, families struggling to make the holidays merry, and a double amputee gets a special gift. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Cheer. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
The revelation by Education Minister Jeff Lloyd that schools on New Providence and Abaco could resume face-to-face learning in February or March isn't sitting well with BUT President Belinda Wilson, who says the union wasn't consulted on the matter. In fact, she says they found out about this and other decisions through the media.
Well, I'm not agreeing to the Minister of Education's timeline.
Wilson says the union will only be open to schools reopening once the Ministry of Health gives the approval and the necessary precautions are put in place to protect both teachers and students.
And we're talking about PPEs for teachers. We want to ensure that there is signage. We want to ensure that there is the 3 feet or to 6 feet distancing. We want to ensure that the teachers' areas where they sit or work or their desk has plexiglass or some sort of barrier. We want to ensure that the class sizes are small.
Well, it's going to be a tough Christmas for some Bahamians as unemployment remains high and the country's economy struggles to recover. Jared Higgs has the story.
Just to try to find a job and try to make the best for me and my kids.
Gabrielle Miller is a 26-year-old mother of 3. She's unemployed and was recently evicted.
I didn't get back my security deposit because she said I forfeit my lease.
Miller took a nearly $2,000 loss and says she didn't have anywhere to go. She also hasn't worked in nearly 4 months.
I'm trying to find work now. I just got a form recently to do security.
When the woman's landlord put her out, family members took her in. Her cousin, who she's staying with now, says she has her own troubles to deal with too.
Because nobody else was taking her. So I took her in, I make space with my kids, them, and we just all try to make things happen. But I'm a single mom with my 4 kids. I have 2 girls and 2 boys.
Andriana Davis is 31 and works as a janitress on a weekly contract with government. She wants to help her family because she's had a hard time in the past herself.
My mom passed when I was young, so watching other things would happen, I saw how it bad. So I know what I done been through younger. So I tell her, at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do because you got kids.
As the country's economy continues to struggle, government has had to extend its unemployment benefit into January. However, it is unclear whether the benefit would remain the same or be lowered. Despite the trying times, some are optimistic though. 59-year-old Floyd Woodside sells peanuts and breadfruit in Baintown. He says he can bring in about $200 a week, and he's grateful for that. He says it will help him put a smile on his 6 grandchildren's faces this Christmas.
If the tennis costs $100 and I don't buy it, you say, granddaughter, you don't like me. I say, man, get it, man. Then he will He want sweat student stuff I get, he buy them for him.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Amid eased restrictions and a drop in COVID-19 cases, Comfort Suites is preparing to welcome its first set of guests on December 10th. Sales Director Yasmin Mills-Strawn says while things are looking slow, they're optimistic and employees will be welcomed back to work in phases.
Definitely your front line, your front office, your sales representatives like us, your housekeeping. Pretty much every department has to have people come back in order to operate. So that includes the restaurant, the front office, housekeeping, the bars. And I think that's everyone. Engineering, of course, engineering. So some of every area. There's no area that is not going to have staff back.
Despite a drop in revenue during the COVID-19 pandemic, Comfort Suites is taking steps to drum up business. The hotel will be offering specials for local and international guests.
Of course, year over year, we are trailing behind, but that is very much expected due to the pandemic, not just here, but worldwide. We are making all of the efforts that we can to try and increase business locally as well as internationally.
Jumping into the NBA season with Marcellus Hall. The details when Our News returns.
Just when you thought the year would end dry, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Chair. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.vs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
A double amputee is giving thanks this week after receiving a new accessibility ramp for his home. The gift was the work of the Rotary Club's Disaster Relief Committee, which partnered with the church to give the gift of access. Bethany McDermott has that.
Christmas came early for 62-year-old Anthony Miller, a disabled Quaco Street resident who now has a wheelchair ramp, which makes getting in and out of his home much easier.
It is a great relief, in terms of getting in and out of my house.
The father of three has been a double amputee for the past 5 years after stepping on a roofing tack while roof work was being done at his home. Now, before the ramp was built, Miller said to get inside he would need the assistance of one of his sons. But then there were the times when he had to do it all alone. It's a process he said could take up to 5 minutes.
I had to lift the front up on the first step, then up on the porch, and then come down and lift the back up and get the whole thing on the porch, and then get myself up on the porch and get inside.
Miller thanked the Rotary Club and Shekinah Family Word Center for making life a little easier. The ramp was constructed by Pastor Arthur Evans and another member of the church in less than a day.
We started from about 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, and by, I'd say, 6 o'clock that evening, we were done.
Rotarian and member of the National Commission for People with Disabilities, Peter Gowdy, said Miller is among many others from the community in need of assistance, but funds are scarce.
We just don't have the resources, unfortunately. We're hoping government will give us the resources and the inspectors. So once we have those, as the Disabilities Commission, we can go around and get stuff like this. And
there are more stories like Mr. Miller's. So we intend to move throughout these communities to identify and seek partnership. And once we Rodney is about partnership. So once we get partnership and corporate sponsors to tie into this, to buy into this, we're able to restore more homes and makes more life more comfortable for persons like Mr. Miller.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Thanks, Bethany. In sports tonight, NBA player Buddy Hield hoping for a big year, and the latest from the NFL season. Here's Marcellus Hall.
Thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, there's been a lot of speculation heading into this NBA season as to whether or not our NBA players like DeAndre Ayton and Buddy Hield would have significant roles on their team's playoff hopes. Well, Buddy's sitting down talking about that with the Sacramento Kings. He says he's not only looking forward to the playoffs, but playing whatever role is necessary. Bahamian NBA player Buddy Hield continuing his talk with sports media prior to the start of training camp for the Sacramento Kings. Hield says the goal for he and the team is to make the playoffs.
The goal is always to get to the playoffs. You know, this franchise them in the playoff in X amount of years. So that's always been a goal, no matter what the situation is.
As for whether he'll be a starter or not, Hield says he'll do whatever is needed of him.
To be honest with you, I always love competing, and it doesn't matter. That's not my job. I don't control that. The head coach controls that. I'm just here to. They brought me out to do certain reasons, is to play basketball and win basketball games. So whatever they need me for, I'm gonna go do it, and try to do it and compete at the highest levels I can. I mean, everything in life we all have to earn. You got to own your job. So it's nothing free in this world. And I came from the Bahamas just to play to come to the NBA, and that was my dream. And you look at the odds, you know, I beat a lot of odds out. So I'm a fighter, man. I'll compete for whatever is supposed to be mine, and then if it's not mine, it won't be. So this is fun for me. So
2 games coming your way from the NFL on Monday. First up, the Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated no more. Steelers upset in the earlier game by the Washington football team, 23-17. Alex Smith throwing for 296 yards and a touchdown. Washington improves to 5-7. Steelers, they fall to 11-1. In the feature game, the Buffalo Bills continue their good play as they took down the San Francisco 49ers 34-24. Bills quarterback Josh Allen outstanding in this one, throwing for 375 yards and a career-high 4 touchdowns. Buffalo maintaining their lead for first place in the AFC East. NFL action continues this evening with a rare Tuesday night game as the Dallas Cowboys and Baltimore Ravens lock horns in a pivotal matchup. Both teams looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. All right, so that's your check on sports. Full details for tonight's football game coming your way tomorrow. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. We'll tell you why the education minister says virtual learning is here to stay. Stay tuned.
Just when you thought the year would end drought, Rev came through with Magic and Holiday Chair. Our cashback will double, making more spirits rise, with chances to spin and with a dope random prize. The rules are quite simple. You can find them online. Just sign up for Trio and pay your Rev bill on time. Our grocery store dash is sure to bring smiles as 16 lucky winners tear through the aisles. Call 601-8992 or visit rev.bs/promotions to find out how you can win with Rev's Field of Magic giveaway. Rev, you and us, together.
More temperatures in the low 70s this week, but for how long? Here's Greg back in the weather studio.
Thanks again, Christina. Our second look at weather is brought to you tonight by Infogrowth. Satellite view around the area, frontal boundary stalling out across the southeast Bahamas, some cloudy conditions across that area. Behind that, high pressure remains in charge, filtering some very nice and dry cool air mass across that area. We expect to see those conditions lasting through the remainder of the week. Here's the boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the northwest to north, 15 knots, seas running 3 to 5 feet. Your low tide will be at 8:09 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great night, everyone. Christina?
And some students will go into the holidays better equipped for virtual learning as the Ministry of Education received 300 tablets and MiFi boxes, a gift from the Bahamas Football Association, the District Grand Lodge, and Alive.
The district has partnered with the Masonic Charitable Foundation, our Royal Victoria Lodge number 443, and Alive for the purchase of these 200 tablets, plus an additional 50 tablets, which are destined for the Ministry of Education, Youth, Culture, and Library Sciences in the Turks and Caicos Islands. As Freemasons, we are guided by our core principles, which are brotherly love, relief, and truth. It is our fervent prayer that these donations will indeed be of some relief to the recipients.
Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd thanked the organizations for their donations, noting that no matter what happens, virtual learning is here to stay.
There will always be the need for these devices. And why? Because now teachers and parents are going to be able to communicate through the means of device. Homework is now going to be transmitted through devices and are going to be received through devices. Students who are not able to go to school for any reason, they may be in a hospital, they may be on vacation, whatever, are still going to be able to engage their respective classes and schools through these devices. This facility, technology is here to stay.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.